what are the key skills someone in academia should acquire to successfully transition into an industry career? How about we start off with Sanjay?
Yeah, no, thanks, Corey. I think I was giving this question some thought earlier, and this may be specific to my experience, but I think I've observed it in others, and especially as you go through master's and PhD programs, I think there's an emphasis in those programs for the individual to be able to highlight their own work, right? And so, well, you want to make sure that you're kind of growing, learning, and showing off that to your advisor, to other people at the university, which is great. I think it provides opportunity for a lot of growth and learning, but it also sets up people to work in silos in a lot of ways, right? Because you're a PhD student, you should be working, you should be doing your job, you should be working on your research. And as you transition to industry, the very first thing you'll find, this may seem obvious, but the very first thing you'll find is you're going to work on teams almost exclusively. Right. And so one of the skills, it's almost more of a soft skill than any kind of a technical skill, is how do you learn how to become an effective collaborator? How do you learn how to work on a team? Even if you're working on a PhD, can you set up an environment where, whether that's the work that you do in your lab or with other classmates, can you set up an environment where you are having more team dynamic? Because that's going to be the reality of industry. I think the other is having some understanding, and I don't think it has to be a deep one if you're going to be more of a technical person, but I think it's helpful to have some understanding of the I don't want to say this in a way that sounds too markety, but almost like the market value or the why are you doing the thing that you're doing, right? Even if you're doing PhD research, it could be because you're excited, it's an innovative, new advanced topic, but you should understand the use cases, the applications, like who is going to benefit from this work at some level, because I think that's an important aspect to when you go to work in industries, that you always want to be questioning that. Okay, well, if we do go work on this new project, if we go build this new tool, who's going to benefit from that? Why do they want to do that? How do we build this in the best way to help really serve that end customer? And so I think you can even think about that in academia. I mean, your end customer might be a little bit of a different perspective, but I think just having that in your mind. So again, for me, it's a lot about the soft skills. I think the technical skills are going to be solid regardless, but can you foster some of those soft skills in your learning are going to be an important part of making that transition to industry.
Definitely. And those soft skills may not be built into the education you're receiving. So you have to find opportunities to work on those.
Yeah. And certainly SPIE offers, I think, a lot of those kind of opportunities, but getting out and networking and finding resources is going to be an important part of your extracurricular work. So.
Definitely. Would anyone else like to add on to this answer as well?
I agree with what Sanjay said. I would put maybe a little bit of a different twist on it, but same kind of take-home message, but totally agree with networking and leveraging relationships. I think some students are successful doing this in a finite capacity, like with study groups, with peers and faculty relationships, but just the scale and complexity really changes on the industry side. And so it does become that much more important. Knowing where to go for answers and help and enlisting that help is key. I'll give another honorable mention to just self-awareness, how important that is, right? Self-awareness, self-development, and increasing one's emotional quotient, not just intelligence quotient, but again, strengthening the ability to really be successful interacting with others.
Very important. Anything else you'd like to add as well, Shahida?
Just one small point I'm going to add, because I completely agree with both what Andrew and Sanjay have said, but I think the other aspect of this is communication as well. That teamwork element is so important, but I think communication, because you're right, Sanjay, people have spent a lot of time siloed, just focusing on their own work and maybe just communicated with few people in that career, but actually when you're in a commercial or industrial environment, you're going to be talking to people at different levels within that organization. You've got to really understand building that emotional kind of quotient, that intelligence is being able to communicate with these people as well. And I think wrap that all up together, and I think you're going to set yourself up, for a really kind of incredible journey as well, and find yourself a good mentor if you can, and somebody that can actually guide you through that. And that doesn't have to be somebody in the organization, you know, just somebody out with that can help guide you through that kind of that process.